make welcome the man with integrity, with a decent heart, with a clean hands and heart, the president of the People's National Party,
this is me,
Member of Parliament, St. Andrew Southern. Please make welcome, Comrade Mark Jefferson Goldie.
Stand digga digga ding dang digga digga ding dang digga digga ding dang dang. Marky G, I know you a champion. Everybody wave on the right hand. Put up your fist. Hey, Marky G, we don't know, so none of them not like me. See them all hype up, but that still not spite me. Gold in a cut and got you because I love in our heart. And none of them can. Hey, Marky G, me don't know, so none of them not like me. So me I go stand up with them face it all me Nike. Make them know what we buy with things.
Pull up, selector, pull it up. Comrade Chairman of the meeting, Mario Mitchell. Comrade officers on the platform, Comrade DJ Skeffrey, Comrade VP Norman Scott, who's wearing several hats because he's also one of the 3 candidates here tonight who will be running for the People's National Party in the next general election. Of course, I also recognize Comrade Patricia Scarlett Forrester, and our lady of the moment here in Southwest, St. Elizabeth, the Bono-Nunus little warrior, sweet, little, but talawa, beyond belief, none other than Comrade Miranda Wellington. Councillors, country, doggy, all the councillors on the platform, big up Champion Myers. Big up O'Neill. Yeah, man. Workers and warriors, foot soldiers, supporters. The word is love. First of all, I just want to thank each and every one who has been with us on the road today. It has been an inspiring experience for me to tour 2 of the divisions in this constituency of Southwest. 2 divisions that are not presently represented by the PNP in the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation. But let me tell you, PNP did it in good numbers and the energy was high. And them love the little candidate, little Miranda, them love her. She's such a wonderful person. She's a person who cares for people. She's a person who comes from Boya. She's a person who has given public service through the teaching profession, and she served her party very well for many years. And she stepped up into the arena of representational politics, and the people have embraced her. And it was illuminating for me, instructive for me today to see how everybody who she met, she knew their name, and they knew her. She has been with the people. She has been working hard. And the people are showing her the love and respect in return. So I feel very, very confident, comrades. I feel very, very confident because I know that Brampton and Black River, those are bastions of the People's National Party. And they will support Miranda Wellington as an excellent candidate. And when I see how she is making such powerful inroads into Pedro Plains and Mountainside, I know that this constituency of Southwest St. Elizabeth, which is a bellwether constituency, where Southwest and Southeast go, typically Jamaica goes when it comes to general elections. And I could feel the energy and the vibes tonight. And I knew that I was walking and pressing flesh and listening to people who were receiving their next member of parliament, this wonderful lady from Southwest, Miranda Wellington. Comrades, I feel so happy that you have given her the love and the support and the respect. And I know when she becomes a member of parliament, she will serve you well. Comrades, we're meeting at a time when many, many people across Jamaica are saying, why them don't call the election? Andrew, call the election. But Andrew don't want to call the election. We thought you'd have called it long time. But the truth is, him knows him can't call it. Because the people of Jamaica want change. They want to get rid of him and his government. They want to usher in a new era of hope, of decency, of good government, of government that puts the people first, of government that the people can have trust and confidence in. And he can't deliver those things. After all, his government is under a cloud right now. What about the 8 members of parliament under investigation by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment? Of one of those 8 is the Prime Minister himself. And his matter has had to be referred further for further investigation to the Financial Investigations Division, which is the agency of government in charge of financial crimes, and Tax Administration Jamaica, the tax authority of this land. And what has been the Prime Minister's response? He's gone to the court to try and strike down the very law that establishes Jamaica's anti-corruption agency, the Integrity Commission Act, and to strike down the offense under the Corruption Prevention Act, which he's being investigated for. It is not a good look. In fact, if you were to tell anybody around the world that this is happening, nobody would believe it is impossible that somebody who has this situation hanging over his head could be offering himself for a 3rd term of office. Jamaica is not a normal place. But the people of Jamaica are not comfortable with it. And when they see how this government has failed to deliver a better standard of living and quality of life for the people, when they have failed to deliver strong and sustained economic growth, when they have delivered so many scandals, so many instances of cronyism and nepotism that the people are disgusted by, the most recent of which concerns fertilizer, a matter of great importance to the people of this constituency. After Beryl, where the people of Southern St. Elizabeth in particular suffered such hardship, and their farms were damaged, and they needed help. And there was Moroccan fertilizer given by the Kingdom of Morocco to Jamaica to help our farmers. And we hear that under this government, fertilizer that should have been given to the farmers to help them get back up on their feet was being sold instead to farmers who were already struggling, reeling corruption. Yeah, man. Some are going to charge for corruption. And we want to know how this thing with the drill really go. This drill with the government purchased from a company for $31.5 million. And we hear say the drill never cost the company anything near that. And the majority shareholder in that company will sell the drill to the government for that big price. The man who has 80% of the shares in his name is a member of parliament for the Jamaica Labour Party. And is a man who very mixed up in the various companies that the Prime Minister is involved in and which have been the subject of the Integrity Commission report, which has led to the situation of which I spoke earlier. Something is rotten in the state of Jamaica, comrades. We cannot go forward like this. We need an era where ethics, values, and attitudes are at the center of governance. An era where the country is run by a government that they can have trust and confidence in, because we're not going to deal with any hanky-panky business. And if anybody miss and slip, them slide, and they will be held accountable. We need a new era where we usher in a more loving Jamaica, a more caring Jamaica. When we see what is happening out there, 9-year-old, sweet little girl, raped and murdered. A nurse traveling on a public road, abused in the most heinous way. Man are stepping on her head. Students, females, going missing. Presumed dead. Comrades, it is a shameful and pitiful situation in the country. We need a new era of love and of caring. We need a new era of righteousness in the land. And when we form government, I intend to mobilize civil society, the churches and other well-thinking Jamaicans so we can push forward a new agenda of love, of caring, of decency. Jamaica is a country that was built on those values. But we have a rotten government. And a rotten government means that the people are getting the wrong signals and the wrong examples are. And when the head of the steam, when the head of the stream is rotten and toxic, everything that flows downstream will be also dirty. We need to clean up Jamaica. And comrades, we need a government that will deal with the real issues confronting our society. One of which is a low rate of economic growth that Jamaica has suffered from for so long. We have gone through tremendous sacrifices to fix the public finances of the country. It started under Sister P and Dr. Peter Phillips as finance minister. And he as a legislator, thank you, Skeff, pushing through the laws to achieve the structural benchmarks that would change that situation and put it on the right trajectory. So that now our debt is no longer the massive problem that it once was. But the economy hasn't grown. The economy is barely moving forward. The country is stagnant. We need to deal with the issues that will address that. We need to support farmers. We need to support farmers so that they can produce. They can produce for the domestic market. They can produce for other countries that need what we can grow. We need an entity which we are calling the Agricultural Development Fund, funded by a portion of the taxes that we impose currently on imported food. And there's so much imported food in the country. 1.4 billion US dollars worth of food imports now, coming from 700,000 or 800,000 when we left office. Permits being given to bring in food, which is undermining our farmers and they can't get sale for their crops. And we need to establish this entity that can support the farmers. Support them with fertilizer. Support them with fertilizer. Support them with farm roads. Support them with storage facilities. Support them with financial credit so they can buy the inputs they need to get the ground prepared, the soil fertilized, and the crops ready for market. And we need to have proper storage facilities so that the post-harvest losses, which in Jamaica are at a very high level of 30%, can be cut down. Because if you're losing 3 out of every 10 of what you produce, it's going to be very hard to be wealthy out of farming. And Comrade Miranda Wellington was saying we need to go back to the days when you could have build a big house out of farming. Or buy a van and you truck out of... Super Cat going to tell you about it right now.
Mercy. Come it's a special dedication to all farmer, whether you live a sentence or in a Nova. Cause this is Mr. Cat, the beer back rider. The style when me I go get them, I go run Jamaica. And in a London, I say in America. And in a Canada, I say in a China. It name the...
Yeah man, the vineyard style, wicked and wild. And comrades, I can promise you that we will not allow fertilizer that is intended to be given to farmers to help them get out of a terrible situation to be misappropriated by cronies of the connected to the political class and sold back to the people for profit. We won't allow that. And we have to support our fishermen. When they're down and out, how can we be posing more costs on them? Food handlers permit, which is effectively another form of tax. They love talk about no new tax. That is a new tax on the fishermen. We have to stand up for the fishermen and give them a chance. We have to stand up for the farmers and give them a better chance. St. Elizabeth is a breadbasket parish of the nation. Flaggermans, farmers from all about. Help is on the way. The People's National Party have a progressive plan for farming, and we intend to roll it out so that our country can move farming from 8 to 9% of GDP. We want to double that over the next 5 to 10 years. And comrades, we have a robust plan for housing as well. Right now, many Jamaicans struggle to buy a house. Houses which are being built for those who can afford expensive house. But what about the people who are not earning much and don't have it and need an affordable house at a reasonable price? Nothing is being built for them. The next People's National Party government has a plan to build 50,000 housing units over 5 years, affordable housing units. And we're...
Time I go trade, yeah. Everybody I go run even money. I need a roof over my head.
Yeah, man, diamonds forever, the mighty diamonds. And we are going to get, over the last 10 years, the government has taken $11.4 billion each year. $11.4 billion each year out of the National Housing Trust to help balance the budget. It has weakened the National Housing Trust. Right now, National Housing Trust, they are not even making loans out of their own resources again, other than for the very smallest loans. Other loans, they are telling people to go to the private lending market and go and borrow the money from the bank. You have to pay higher fees when you do that. And the interest rate that they charge is higher than the NHT. The NHT has to pay them money to subsidize the rate, which is further weakening the National Housing Trust. We're going to stop taking that $11.4 billion out of the Housing Trust. And we're going to restore the mission of the Housing Trust to build houses for people who can't afford the houses that the private developers are building now. And we're going to establish a fund within the National Housing Trust for first-time buyers, young people up to 35 years old. If they have been contributing for up to 2 years to the National Housing Trust, they will be entitled to a grant from that $1 billion, which is going to be replenished every year. And that grant is $500,000 to help them cover the deposit so they can step onto the ownership ladder and move up in a life. And we have a very ingenious thing called a rent-to-own scheme for many Jamaicans who are making them money, but they can't produce a pay slip because they don't have a formal job with an employer who gives them a pay slip. So they can't show proof of income to qualify for a mortgage. We're going to deal with that situation. We will allow them to get into the possession of the house as a tenant, and they'll be paying the rent at the level of a mortgage. And if they show that they can make the payments on time over a reasonable period, we're thinking of 6 months, they will be treated as having proved that they can service the mortgage, they can access the mortgage, draw down the loan, buy the house, and become an owner instead of a tenant. And we know that education is the antidote to poverty. The People's National Party is a party that believes in education. Right now, the education system is failing the country and failing the children. Over 30% of children leaving primary school can't read and write, can't do arithmetic. The country cannot be built like that. We are going to make the necessary investments in early childhood development and primary school, in the teacher training, in the facilities at the school, in the nutrition of the students. And we want to reduce the problem of absenteeism from school. There are many children in Jamaica who don't go to school 5 days a week because their parents can't find lunch money or can't find the taxi or bus fare to send them. That is why we're going to have the EASE program to ease off some of them pressure there. We're going to provide one nutritious meal, hot meal, each day at school for all needy children in primary and secondary school. We're starting with that. And as the economy improves, we're going to include breakfast as well. Yeah, man. And we're going to have the RIDE program, comrades. The RIDE program is going to provide a subsidy where up to 20,000 households who struggle to find the bus fare and taxi fare to send their children to school will get help from the government to cover those costs every week. Moving that up from where it is now at 7,500. We're starting at 20,000 and we plan to take it way up from there as the economy improves. And comrades, there are many households in Jamaica where no one in the household has ever gone to university or college. And we know that if one member of that household gets the opportunity to go to university or college, it can make a huge difference to the future of that family. Because that person can then help the others to move up as well. And we can put a break on the intergenerational poverty that is a feature of Jamaica, where next generation inherit the poverty of the previous generation. We want to put an end to that. So we have the First in Family Scholarship Program. That if you are the first person in your household to have been accepted to a university or a college, we will provide a full scholarship to you to attend that institution. The People's National Party sees social mobility through access to tertiary education as something that the government must get behind. And comrades, for student loan borrowers, those who have been struggling and are in difficulties, we intend to bring an amnesty, and we will waive the penalties and the arrears interest if you bring your principal payments current. And for new borrowers, we intend to cap your monthly payment at an affordable percentage of your actual earnings, your actual income, so you don't have to worry about being able to service your mortgage. And if you go through a hard time and you're unemployed, we'll suspend the obligation to make payments, and we won't charge you any penalties or interest. We'll just put those payments to the back end of the loan so you can, till you get yourself back on your feet, because the PNP is looking out for your interest, students. To say something about the good Jamaican ganja. It's I, man, Marky G, who piloted and developed the legislation passed by the PNP in 2015 to decriminalize personal use of ganja. Before then, you couldn't go up on the road with no spliff in your hand or in your jaw corner, because you'd get draped up and arrested by the police and end up with a criminal record. We were the ones who got rid of that. So you can't be arrested for a spliff. You can't be arrested for a chalice. You can't be arrested for a jar of weed. And if you have a criminal record from the past for any of those things for personal use, we have automatic expungement of your criminal record. Once you apply for your criminal record certificate, it's treated as an application for expungement, and that is removed from your record. And we wanted to create a new industry for Jamaica. An industry in medicinal and therapeutic ganja. And our mission and our vision was that small farmers who had carried the pain and the burden of prohibition of 100 years of criminalization of ganja would get a chance to become lawful producers to make good money for themselves and their family. But we lost the election in February 2016. And the JLP inherited all that, and they have done nothing with it. Well, we intend to revisit the industry, and we intend to ensure that small farmers have the opportunity to become lawful ganja producers, so that the police can no longer harass them over the weed that they are growing, and that they can be able to make money lawfully to send them children to school, to build them house, to build them community. So comrades and friends, this election coming up is an important election. It's an election where Jamaica can make a decision to choose change. Change that takes us away from corruption. Change that takes us away from depravity. Change that takes us away from poverty. Change that takes us away from underdevelopment. Change that takes us away from low economic growth. Change that puts us on the path to a wealthy society where all Jamaicans have an opportunity to live good here a yard and they don't have to run off a foreign because the opportunities are here to make it in life. And comrades, you, when the day call, have the responsibility to make that change. There's only one way to do it here in Southwest St. Elizabeth. And the way to do it in Southwest St. Elizabeth is when you get that ballot and you see the name Miranda Wellington with a head, you put your X squarely beside the head and you send Miranda Wellington to Garden House alongside I am and Marky G to run the country. So comrades, are you ready for Miranda Wellington as your MP? Are you ready for the People's National Party? Are you ready for Iman Marky G to be the next Prime Minister of Jamaica? You sound like you're ready. You feel like you're ready. You look like you're ready. Power to the people. Power to the people, I say. Power to the people. One love, comrades. One love. God bless you all. The word is love.